And welcome. This is Michigan's AutoTalk Podcast. I'm Phil Tower. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you being a part of this podcast. We remind you each and every episode of Michigan's AutoTalk Podcast is about celebrating the automobile, everything automotive, and helping and supporting you, the car and truck owners across our great state of Michigan, the weekend warriors who are out in the garage working on your cars and trucks. And of course, it all happened here, birthplace of everything automotive, and the big three and a lot more now. In this episode, we're going to welcome a special guest back. Phoebe Wall Howard covers automotive news, specifically Ford, for the Detroit Free Press. We'll talk with her. We had a lot of fun with Phoebe last time. And I'm going to turn over the show to the podcast, to the stars of the podcast. That's Al Schwinkendorf and John Puhek. I am Phil Tower. I'm doing the show under a little bit of medication. As you can hear, my voice is a little different. So just a disclaimer, if I start...
It's a hell of a week.
If I start...
Is that self-medicated? Or no?
If it's poetry, guys, I don't know. And Phoebe, you've been warned. I'm just letting you know.
Well, Phil, you got to start the ball because you've got this... I haven't read her articles, so this is new to me. So kick her out there, get her going, and then we can talk.
Well, we all know... We had, in fact, our last episode, we talked about just how crazy prices are for muscle cars right now. And for that matter, anything at auction. A bidder paid $1 million for both a Shelby, this is a 2009 Ford Shelby GT 500 Super Snake signed by Carroll Shelby, and an 86 Corvette convertible during a Barrett-Jackson auction from Palm Beach, Florida. I believe this was last Friday, was it, Phoebe?
Correct.
It's crazy. I mean, how did you hear about this?
I get the Shelby, but I mean, come on, 86 Vet, give me a break. That's the dog here, dude. Like, come on.
There had to been something special about it.
I was going to say, yeah, it had to be signed by somebody or something.
There's a story, and Phoebe wrote about it in the Detroit Free Press. You can check it out at freep.com. How did you hear about this, Phoebe?
Well, this one is, this is the twist on this one, of course, is that, the wives pushed for this, actually, the donors who gave these two vehicles, but this is to raise money for Ukraine. And interestingly enough, awesome. It's pretty cool. So it was going to be $1 million for just the Super Snake, and the owner of the Corvette threw it in because it was the colors of the Ukrainian flag, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, that's cool. That makes more sense.
Behind every good car, there's a good story.
Yep.
There's a good story. And the thing about the Corvette, what's really powerful there is that the man who donated it, his wife is Tatiana Pilak, and they just pulled her mother, her sister, and her cousin in from what is today the most violent part of the war. So they literally just landed days ago in Florida, and they were at the auction very quietly and solemnly. I mean, there were no smiles from them because they're traumatized, really. But the person, of course, who bought the vehicles was NASCAR racing legend Rick Hendrick. And
did he buy the Ford too?
He did not buy the Ford. But what's interesting is after they closed on his $1 million bid, all these people, when I was watching the auction, they start yelling out, "I'll give $100,000. I'll give $100,000." So they raised an extra $650,000 in $50,000 and $100,000 tranches just for Ukraine. So people didn't take a car, but they had to cut it off. People were just shouting out $100,000 bids, and that was a very special. Yeah, so that was a big fundraiser there. And what's really kind of cool, the story behind the Super Snake, is the man who donated that vehicle. He was a janitor. And, and he stumbled into a great job at the school where he was a janitor and became a school tour guide at this little business school. And he worked so hard and he ended up owning the school, George Shin, and the whole string of business schools and earning all his money, now millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. But he's 81. And the story is quite unbelievable because he says these women came. I have to share it. Well, I'll share it with you if we have time. But it's kind of cool when people start out as janitors and they end up multi-millionaires.
That's the American dream right there.
You ever read the book The Wealthy Barber?
No, what's that one about?
Check it out sometime. It's the same thing as your janitors. The Wealthy Barber. It's a great book.
Yeah, I love stuff like that. So it's a very cool story, and yeah,
we love stories like that. And then you wrote another one recently too, about a 2021 Ford Bronco. This was, and you can talk about this. I loved this story. This was a really custom Bronco, one of the new ones, which are super, super hot. This was a part of an auction involving the CEO of Ford, and Jim Farley got involved with this because he was involved. He and his wife were involved with the Pope Francis Center in downtown Detroit, and the rest is history. But this car went a couple of weeks ago, went for $500,000.
Yeah, that one was a 2021 Ford Bronco, and that one actually that was a first edition only, so it wasn't souped up. It was just a straight up first edition. And same thing, every penny went to the Pope Francis house in Detroit, which is super cool. They're doing this really wild project that's unprecedented in the country for housing and not just housing, but finding jobs. And it's just a whole project to get people back, as taxpayers and supporting their families again. But this was a really big deal also. Same thing, $500,000. And they didn't expect that to go for that much.
What I love about this is I've got a 65 Ford Galaxy convertible, and Al and John have seen it. It's Wimbledon white. This Bronco was painted Wimbledon white, a color that was on the
forever.
The 1966 Bronco, but not a currently available color for the Broncos. It also had custom Wimbledon white wheels and just really kind of cool looking. Like you said, not souped up, but just some nice accessories and a very happy ending for the Pope Francis house, which is kind of cool thing.
Well, actually, not only did they raise $500,000 at the auction, but a California supporter of Detroit Project actually matched it. So she was so impressed with the $500,000 that she threw in $500,000, and so St. Francis pulled in.
April 12th. You need a write-off in 3 days, so that's awesome.
Well, so let me tell you, Friday, in addition to the Super Snake, they actually, for no fundraising reason, just throwing vehicles up on the auction block, a 2021 Ford Bronco went for $98,000. And another 2021 Ford Bronco went for $100,000. Those were not for charity. They were straight up take it home and drive it.
If you look at what original uncut, meaning they didn't cut out the rear fender wells of the very first edition of the Broncos, if it had a V8 and an automatic transmission and was decked out, they called it a Ranger back then. It's like a Platinum now. If you look at the percentages that those have gone up since those times, these people are speculating, and they're probably right on, because 20 years from now, they're probably going to be worth that. At an auction.
People really like them.
I don't want to say worth it, but people will pay that.
Yeah, they do love it. Phoebe, you also, and just quick sidebar, and we're going to talk about Ford's drop in sales. Some of the models are not doing well. But speaking of one that they can't even get into showrooms, you drove the Maverick, and I've been really surprised by this. This is a $20,000.
It's cool.
Starts at $20,000, and this is one that, are they going to be able to sell any of these? What are they expecting to be able to have stock of these again? What's the latest on the Maverick?
So the Mavericks are opening up orders again this summer. They shut it down because what they've learned is it's better to shut down orders than have people place orders and wait. People, they get really anxious and upset. So a lot of dealers, a lot of automakers are way behind. I mean, they're a year and a half behind. But frankly, one of the analysts on Wall Street said to me, Ford is getting hit really hard for these delays because, frankly, this analyst said to me out of New York, they've got super sexy products. I mean, people aren't just waiting. They want their sexy products. So the Maverick will open back up this summer, But I'll tell you, this is what carried the day for Ford so far for this year. The Bronco Sport, the Ford Edge, and the Mustang Mach-E. Those three were the big sellers for the first 3 months of 2022. Now, let me tell you, the rest, they were hit hard in its chip management, right? It's semiconductors. So F-Series, down 30%. I mean, that's a hard hit for Ford.
Wow.
Ranger down 27%. The Ford Mustang down 20%. The Explorer down 35%. The Expedition down 56%. So Escape is down. EcoSport. So those are not people not buying them. That's people can't get them. And
That's
so,
and I will tell you, I talk to a lot of people that we work with that have fleets, and I call them Mopar. They've got some freaking different name every other week, but that group can produce a Ram truck in about 12 to 13 weeks. 6 months ago, I was told Ford was 20. I can't wait to get into the next subject here because, like you said, it might be about availability. I've got a lease that's up in December on my truck. And I was told that up to 4 months earlier, which would be August, Ford would negotiate and I could swap out and get my next one. And the value of mine is worth way more, like $5,000 more than what the payoff is on it. So I'm excited to do that. So I was told to go in, this would have been March, and place an order, because even though at that time they were saying 23 weeks, it might be 30 weeks, it might be 40 weeks. And I see these ads on TV that say, we'll give you this rebate now, but if it's better when your vehicle comes in, we'll give you the better deal. And I'm thinking, I'm not going to have a 2022 that I ordered. I'm going to have a 2023. And what's going to happen when the price goes up like everything else in the world, 15, 20%? I'm kind of nervous about this whole deal.
Well, actually, you raise a very, very important point that the automakers have been public about. If you sign a deal now, they'll hold the price. Yep. So as long as you have something in writing. Here's something else that's interesting that you've just pointed out. Ford sold more vehicles than Stellantis in the first 3 months, but fewer than General Motors and Toyota. However, Stellantis and Toyota didn't see the big drop. General Motors, GM, was hit really hard. That's and so it's really, this is, and now with these automakers, all of them, BMW said this week, they're not expecting any relief before 2023. Like they think that this will go all the way through 23. So if you're looking at getting a vehicle or trading a vehicle in or just thinking about it, I would encourage for any automaker to get your name on a list and secure the price. You
know what? That's exactly what I did. But the thing when I talk to my customers who have these cars where, they're coming out of the shop and John walks up front and said, they really shouldn't put this money into this. This car needs to go away. But we realize the situation right now where they might not be able to replace it and stuff like that. People are running to Toyota and other companies because we see the trucks go down the road that have like new Highlanders on the back and everything else. We don't see F-150s and we don't, we're not seeing Silverado trucks coming in by, a whole bunch of them. And it's really frustrating for people because they go out and they want to buy a car. They realize the next one's going to be way expensive. They realize that their trade-in is worth way more than it should be, but they just physically can't get it. So maybe they go buy a Toyota if they're a Dodge person or a Chevy person or something like that. Yeah.
Well, Toyota is seeing again. You're spotlighting a big change, and Toyota is seeing significant growth everywhere, especially in the Midwest. So, in a region that is very loyal to the Detroit Three, Toyota is seeing great gains because this has to do with long-term relationships with your suppliers and chip makers, and Toyota is just it's the number one vehicle right now.
Maybe the Midwest just conceded and realized that the big three starts with Toyota. Honda might be 2, and then Chevy and Ford can duke it out for 3. Chrysler, they can go to Italy. I don't care. Yeah.
So, well, I got but you say that about Chrysler, but I got to tell you that Ram, people love the Ram truck. You can never discount that, and that. Their sales, they still remain very strong, but it is amazing when we're covering these plants. Again, you know, the Detroit 3, as well as the others, Volkswagen, Toyota, but the shutdowns are just constant. And keep in mind, when these sales go down, you know, that hits the UAW automaker, right? Because auto worker, because they get percentages. So this all rolls. And so, you know, we want to get these cars made the way people need them and want to buy them.
Yep.
You know, the only problem that I see, and I know we got to roll, Phil, we'll get out of here, but Ford's got their prototype out and they pre-sold 200,000 or got orders. They didn't pre-sell, but they got orders for 200,000 of the thing. Chevy's truck's coming out and that's going to be incredible. They've got a lot of people waiting in line for that. And we haven't seen anything out of the Ram group. I don't know what the problem is there. I think that they're making a huge mistake because if there's enough to get 200,000 people interested in the Lightning and then another, I forget what the number was, 198.5. I mean, it's just below for the new Silverado. They're missing the boat and maybe they're lagging behind.
Well, the other thing, remember, Cybertruck by Tesla has an enormous number of reservations as well. So Silverado and Cybertruck are scheduled to come out next year.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't see the I think the Tesla truck's a few more years away.
I think so too. You're right. And the other, keep in mind, Rivian is out, it's up, it's selling, but it's very few. People, you know, people really like it. They think it's a great looking truck, you know, but it's a couple thousand since September, I think 3,000.
It's never going to touch the big three numbers, is it?
Yeah.
Well, they just have to ramp up. And keep in mind, a lot of that, you know, Ford is an investor. So when Rivian does well, Ford makes money. And so does Amazon, which is kind of
they've been smart,
kind of weird.
Smart like that with Cummins too.
Yeah.
Ford family aren't morons. They just can't buy a sports team
or manage a football team.
Yeah.
All right, that's a perfect way to end it. To make us Lions fans a little more depressed. You can find Phoebe at the Detroit Free Press, freep.com, and of course, love following her on Twitter at Phoebe Said. She's always tweeting fun, interesting, and informative things. By the way, I told you, Phoebe, Alan, John, I'm under medication. I said this is episode 52. It's episode 53. So there. I rest my case.
Come on, Phil.
Well, you aired to the good side.
I sure did. Phoebe, thanks for joining us. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. You too. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Thanks, Phoebe.
We're going to put the wraps on this one. I am the medically induced producer, Phil Tower.
I'm Al Schwinkendorf.
I'm John Puhek. Thanks for listening.